my little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. And today I'm going to show you how to crochet this really lovely crochet stitch. Could not find a name for it, so I'm calling it the Elegant Fans Stitch. And I do think it's quite elegant, and yes, they are fans. And for this project, I used Red Heart Ombre, and I absolutely adore how gradual and just, oh, it's darling, don't you think, how the color changes? And in spite of the fact that this is Red Heart, and it can sometimes be a little bit coarse, I used a size I hook, and it worked out pretty well. You know, it has a lovely texture to it, nice drape, nice flow, and you can do this stitch in however many repeats wide you want. So in spite of the fact that this is a very lacy stitch, you can make it very wide, so you can make a wrap, you can make a blanket, and you can still keep really nice and toasty if you use this as a scarf by making it extra wide, which I did. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. And for this example, for this tutorial, I'm going to be using some more Red Heart Super Saver, this time in, I think this is called Buff, and again using a size I crochet hook, and I've got it upside down. And so you can use whatever hook size and whatever yarn weight. This is a regular worsted weight of 4. You can use whatever works for you. This is just what I happen to have on hand, and without further ado, let's get started. All right, just one more word before we actually get started. Now, as you can see here, I have got 3 fans in the middle of my piece here, okay? And for this piece, I did a total of 44 chains, 44 beginning chains for the width of this piece. And it is a multiple of 10 stitches plus an additional 4 stitches. So for this, like I said, I did a total of 44 chains in order to achieve this width. So however many multiples of 10 you do, you will have 1 less for the number of shells that you have, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain up 34 stitches for my base chain so that it isn't quite as wide as this for the tutorial purposes. Excusez-moi. So I'm going to chain up my 34 stitches, and what I want you to do is chain up however many multiples of 10 that you want, and then add 4. Okie dokie. All right. Alrighty, finally on to row 1. All right, so I have my 34 chains already made, and to begin with, we are going to start with 2 double crochets into the 4th chain from the hook. So that's this one right here at my thumb, and so we're going to start by doing 2 double crochets. All right. Then, and this is, by the way, our cluster at the end here, and so we're going to chain 3, and then skipping 4 chains, we're going to go into the 5th chain with a single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I always like to double check, especially on the initial foundation. Makes it a lot easier when you don't have to undo your work in the long run, okay? So then we are going to chain 3 more, and we're going to skip 4 more chains. This time we're going to do some doubles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and into the 5th chain, we're going to do 5 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, chain 3, skip 4 more chains and going into the 5th with a single crochet, chain 3, skip 4 more chains going into the 5th with 5 more double crochets, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, we're getting there. Then we chain 3 again, skip 4 more chains going into the 5th with a single crochet. Okay, and so you would oscillate back and forth between doing a single crochet and a cluster of 5 double crochets. Now, like I said, because I did a total of 30 chains plus the 4, I only have 2 shells. Okay, I just like to make that abundantly clear from the get-go, so that you know exactly what I'm doing. So now we're going to finish up by doing a chaining of 3, and then into the last chain, that 5th chain, we're going to do 3 double crochets. It's all about symmetry, which I love. There are so many things in life that are imbalanced that when we can have a nice crocheted piece that is balanced, it gives me some, some satisfaction, some relief. All right, so that is the end of row 1. Okay. Alrighty, row 2. All right, so for row 2, we're going to start by chaining up 3. Okay, and then we're going to add 1 because we're going to do some doubles, but we need a chain 1 space. So the chain 3 acts as a double crochet, and that extra chain acts as a chain 1 space. So not going into this first double crochet, we're going to go into this second one here, because this acts as a first one. So going into the second one, we're going to do a double crochet. So we have a double crochet and a chain 1 in between here. So we've got a little space. Then we chain 1 and do a double crochet into the next double crochet stitch. Chain 1. And now into this single crochet, we're going to do a cluster. So to do that, we yarn over, go into the single crochet stitch, pull up our yarn, and we're going to make as if we're going to do a double crochet, but we don't finish it. Then we yarn over, go into that same stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2. So we have 2 unfinished double crochets. Then we pull through all 3 loops on the hook. So that creates our cluster. Then going on to our shell, we're going to chain 1 and into the first double crochet stitch, do a double crochet. And then across here, we're going to do double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, just as we did in the beginning here. So chain 1, double crochet into the next, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet into that last one. Okay, then we chain 1 again, and we need to do another cluster into this single crochet. So pull up a loop, pull through, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and then you pull through all 3 for the cluster. Chain 1, gotta do another fan. So after chaining 1 after the cluster, we do a double, chain 1, oops, double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double, chain 1, and double. All right, that's the end of that fan. Then we chain 1. Got another cluster to do in this single crochet, so after chaining 1, we do, I always call them unfinished double crochets. We yarn over and pull up another loop, pull through 2, and then you pull through all 3. All right, we're almost to the end. Then we chain 1, double crochet into that first double, chain 1, double crochet into the second double, chain 1, and then this one is always a little bit tricky, but I know you can do it. We're going to do a double crochet into the top of this double crochet, and it can be a little bit tricky, but just be patient. Remember to breathe. Remember, oxygen is your friend. And here you go. And double. Ta-da! And that's the end of row 2. All right. Alrighty, row 3. So for row 3, we are going to start by chaining up 5 because we need 2 spaces in between our doubles. So 1, 2, 3 counts as the double, 4, 5, the extra 2 spaces. We turn the work, do a double crochet into this first double crochet here, not into here, but into here. All right, see how it's opening up? Then we chain 2. All right, now here's where the fun begins. We're going to do a double cluster, so to speak. It's going to be divided between here and here. All right, it's a little weird, but I'll walk you through it. So you yarn over and you pull up a loop on this side, pull through 2. Then we're bridging the gap over this cluster in the middle, and we're going to go over to this next double crochet over here. So we're going to yarn over, going into this one, not the center, but the one over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and then pull through all 3. And that bridges the gap. You see? And I'm gonna do this, quite a few times. In fact, I'm gonna do this 2 more times on this row alone. So, you'll see. All right, so then we chain 2 again, double crochet into this double crochet. And when you're going over the fans, it's a lot of repetition. So chain 2, double crochet into the double crochet, chain 2, double crochet into the double. All right, chain 2. All right, now we need to bridge the gap. So we're going to do an unfinished double. Then on the other side of the cluster, another unfinished double. And pull through all 3. The gap is bridged. And then we chain 2 again, double in the double, chain 2, double in the double, chain 2, double in the double. Sounds catchy. Double in the double. Chain 2. All right, we got to bridge the gap again. So, unfinished double. On the other side, an unfinished double. And cluster. Okay. Chain 2. Double in the double. Chain 2, and then we need to do a double in the third from the bottom. Two ways of doing it. You can either skip this one right here, or you can count from the bottom, which is typically what I do. 1, 2, and 3. So into this one right here, because you need to account for that chain 1 space from the previous row. Ta-da! And also, I often say this, that when you are chaining up, you might want to make your initial chain to be just a little bit on the loose side so that it is easier to work into on the next row. And so that is the end of our third row. All right. On to row 4. Alright, so for row 4, we're going to start by chaining 1, turn the work, and we're going to do a single crochet into this double crochet, right into here, single crochet. Then into the chain 2 space, we're going to do another single crochet, but we'll chain 1 first. So we get a single crochet, chain 1, and then a single crochet. Right there. Okay. Then we're going to chain 3. And in all of these spaces, we're going to do exactly the same thing. Chain 3, and then do a single crochet into this next chain 2 space. Chain 3, single crochet into the next space. You're not doing anything with this double cluster. You're just going right over it. So into the next space with a single, chain 3, single crochet into the next space, chain 3, and that's what you're going to do for the entire row. Just chain 3, single crochet into the next available space. I love this particular row because it goes by so quickly and it's so easy and you really don't have to think about it. You know, I hate agonizing over patterns, and I'm sure that you do too. You know, it's nice when it just flows. All right, and we are almost there. So I'm at the end. Okay, so now, finishing up by chaining 3, do a single crochet into the space, and then we need to do another single crochet. This time, again, it's going to be the third chain from the bottom, so that's this one right here. So it's always easier to let your yarn go and just focus on getting the hook into the right place. And single crochet. All right, and that is the end of the 4th row. Alrighty, row 5. This is actually the last row, and that's going to be the start of the repeat. So what we're going to do is we're going to start row 5 by chaining 3. 1, 2, 3, and then turn the work. Now into this very first single crochet, we're going to do 2 double crochets right into here. So that's our initial cluster, just like we did down here, remember? Got a cluster of 3, cluster of 3. How about that? Then we are going to do a chaining of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And we're going to skip this first chain 3 space, going into the next chain 3 space with a single crochet. Okay, just going right over that. Chain 3. Skip this next space, going into the next one with 5 double crochets. Does this seem familiar to you? I hope so. So it's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 3. Skip one of the chain 3 spaces, going to the next with a single crochet. Chain 3. Skip the next space, going into the next one with 5 double crochets. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 3. Skip the next space, going to the one after with a single crochet. Chain 3. And then into this very last single crochet, going to do 3 double crochet stitches. Ta-da! And that, my dears, is the end of the repeat. Okay, it's as easy as that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another repeat just for you, because I really want to make sure that you got it. You know, that's the important thing. It's all about demystifying these patterns that look so complex and so intimidating that I want to make them workable for you. So I'm going to do another repeat for you. Now, you could leave it at, the, round 5, row 5. Personally, what I like to do, I'm just going to show you my piece here. Let me grab the end. Personally, I like to end it on this row, which is actually, this is row 3. It's all about personal preference as far as I'm concerned. I like this edging better for the top. But again, personal preference, it's all up to you. So I'm going to show you an additional repeat of rows 2 through 5. And, you can do this. I know you can. All right. So let's get to it. Alrighty. So for the repeat of row 2, we're going to start by chaining up 4 stitches. 2, 3, 4. Turn the work. Skipping this first double, doing a double into the next one over. Chain 1. Double into the next double. Chain 1, and we need to do a cluster in that single crochet stitch. So, unfinished double, yarn over, another unfinished double, pull through all 3, got a finished cluster. Chain 1, double in the double, 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 chain 1, and double in the double. All right, then we chain 1, And we need to do another cluster in that chain, sorry, the single crochet stitch, excuse me. So we have an unfinished double, then another unfinished double. Pulling through all three, we have a finished cluster. Chain one, double in the double, chain one, double in the double, chain one, double in the double. If I can get all of my plies of yarn, there we go. Chain one, double in the double, chain one, and double in the double. All right, that's the end of the second fan. Chain one, got another cluster. So it's an unfinished double, another unfinished double, and pull through all three for a finished cluster. Chain one, double in the double, chain one, double in the double, chain one, and double in the top of this first double crochet. And one of these days I will listen to my own advice and try to make my first chain a little bit looser, but I manage. All right, and that's the end of the row 2 repeat. Onwards and upwards to row 3 for the repeat. So we're going to start by chaining up a total of 5 stitches because we need a double and a chain 2 space. 1, 2, 3 for the double, chain 2 for the space. All right, so we do a double in the double crochet stitch. Okay, chain 2, then we have to bridge the gap over the cluster. So doing an unfinished double, yarning over, and then an unfinished double on this side, and then pull through all 3. Ta-da! Chain 2, double in the next double, chain 2, double in the next double, chain 2, double in the next double, chain 2. All right, we got to bridge the gap once again. So we have an unfinished double, and then another unfinished double on the other side, and then pull through all 3 for a finished bridge. Chain 2, double in the double, chain 2, double in the double, chain 2, double in the double. Come on, work with me. There we go. Chain 2, and we need to bridge the gap once again. So unfinished double, then onto the other side over here, another unfinished double, then pull through all 3 for a finished bridge. Chain 2, double in the double, chain 2, and then finding the third from the bottom, 1, 2, and 3, right there. Do another double. Now, some of you also, I know, have trouble knowing exactly where that chain is. And you know what? I can understand that being a problem. So some of you have suggested actually using a stitch marker when you're chaining up. Put a little stitch marker in that third chain, and that does help. Be sure, of course, using a stitch marker that can open and close. You could use a safety pin, a little scrap of yarn, whatever works for you. even an earring or a charm, that could totally work. So like I was saying before, I prefer this edge as my finished edge, the end of row 3. That's just my personal preference. You can do whatever works for you, but this is just what I like. All right. So this is the end of row 3. We've got 2 more, and that'll be the end of the repeat. Alrighty, row 4. Okay, so for row 4, we need to do our single crochets and our chains and so forth. So we're going to start by chaining up of 1, turn the work, and so after chaining 1, we're going to do a single crochet into that first double crochet. Come on. There we go. So we got a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet into the chain 2 space, chain 3, single crochet into the next chain 2 space. Told you this is my favorite row because it just flies right along. Chain 3, single crochet into the next space, and so on and so forth, etc., etc. Just chain 3, single crochet into the next chain 3 space, chain 3, single crochet into the next space, chain 3, single crochet. And like I said, do not worry about the clusters. We're just going right over them. Okay, chain 3, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, chain 3. All right, we're at the last loop here, so we do a single crochet into there. Then we need to do another one. So finding the third from the base, 1, 2, and 3. Gonna do another single crochet stitch right into that third chain right there. Ta-da! And that's the end of row 4. Alrighty, row 5 for the finale of the repeat. Alright, gonna start by chaining up 3. 1, 2, and 3. Turn the work. And we need 2 doubles into this first single crochet. All right, chain 3, skip a space, go into the next with a single crochet stitch, chain 3, skip a space, go into the next with 5 double crochets. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and whoops, hello. 5, chain 3, skip a space, going into the next with a single crochet, chain 3, skip a space, going into the next with 5 double crochets, 2, 3, 4, and 5, chain 3, skip a space, going into the next with a single crochet, chain 3, and then, last but not least, into that very last single crochet on the very end, There we go. 3 double crochets. All right. Oh, I love it when things all fall into place. And as you can see, it works up pretty darn quick. And I do think it is really quite elegant, don't you? And if you ever get stuck, all you have to do is just look at the side to see where you need to be. What I mean by that is, okay, so as you can see here, we have our 3 doubles, just like we had at the very beginning. Then we need doubles with chain 1 spaces, right? So the chain 1 spaces lead us to the clusters in the center, with chain 1 spaces dividing our double crochets all the way across, and then ending with another spaced out 3 double crochets. Then in the next row, we need that extra space here and here, so it's a chaining of 5 initially. And then, so we have our spaces, but then we need to bridge the gap over the cluster. And it's chain 2 double crochet, chain 2 double crochet, so on and so forth. And then it has reached the widest it's going to be, so then we have to shrink it back down again to get back to where we were here. So again, that's the single crochets, the chain 3, single crochet, chain 3 all the way across, so that we can build up our foundation of the 3 doubles, chain 3, single crochet, chain 3, 5 double crochets. So that way you can keep growing your fans out and up onwards to however long you want to make this project. And once you understand the mechanics of the project and you can remember the repeat and so forth for the pattern, really not that difficult. Just, be patient, remember to breathe, and of course, you can always follow the repeat for this video if you so choose. And so listen, I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I always love doing this for you guys. This is my passion and I love sharing it with you. So if you liked the video, please hit the little thumbs up button. Your support means oh so much to me and I always appreciate it. And if you have any questions, comments, do so in the little comment section down below. I love hearing from you, and I do try to respond as best I can. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button already, please do so as well, because I try to post videos as often as I can, whether it be crocheting, knitting, audiobook narration, or what have you. So listen, until next time, I want you guys to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, and above all, stay stitching. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.